Oakley dokley. Here we are at Eugene East, which has been reconfigured and the track fit. It's not down yet, but it's in, it's connected, so I know exactly what's going to go where. Holes are drilled for the switch machines. So tomorrow we'll be installing it, soldering it, tortoises, and doing feeders as needed. So the new arrangement, as you can see now, the yard track here, well, you come into it from the main line, okay? So from here you come in, and that's your inbound track, inbound and outbound track. Alright, and then the power goes to the house or does what it's going to do. Now when you're shifting the yard, now instead of having to go right to the main line, this here goes over there, and it's going to go way back there. And I'm actually probably going to extend it as far as I can. I have to do a little earthwork there, little remedial scenery removal to get that fit, but that gives me the absolute longest run I can get. So that then is your switch lead for the yard. Not perfect. Yeah, you couldn't pull a complete track. It'd be close, but you can't quite. But anyway, it gives you a lot more flexibility, and now you don't have to come out onto the main when you're doing your switching. And the reason I did this, it's simply because, I'm not saying it would ever be like that, but what I want to do, because I want this to look more railroady, is right here, because again there's going to be a new crossover, it's going to be in here. I want to put a tower. There aren't enough towers in the world anymore, and I want a tower on a layout. So I'm going to put one right there. So that's why, instead of just running the lead, which I could have done, straight back, basically right on that red line there. Now, I guess I could have put a tower behind it, but I figured, well, you know what they did for some reason? I don't know why. I didn't build the layout or build the railroad. I'm just here making a copy of it, or whatever. So they brought it back so they can put a tower, whoop, right there, right in the where those crossovers are. So that's why I did that. And then this track here, whoop, becomes, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. It could be, it's kind of another way to get around the ladder. I guess if you needed to get power or something around without interfering with someone who's shifting the yard. Could be a caboose track. Could be a wreck train track. And there's a lot of things I could do, but I figured, yeah, I might as well put that in and have it so that I can do something with it. Not exactly sure yet. Maybe give me some thoughts. What should that track be, or what could that track be? Be curious to hear what people think, because I'm not really sure. I thought caboose track, but I might put one of those on this side. I don't know, whatever. So they're in. I still got to work on, well, I got to get the rail joiners up on that side, but you kind of see the new arrangement there. And hopefully in a day or two I'll have this all down and everything wired up and verticking. And then the next big step is to get the crossover in, but again, in order to do that, I've got to rip it out of Pittsfield. So when I do that, I'm really biting a bullet and say I'm making track plan changes. But all this can be done and doesn't really interfere. It is a little kludgy because you can't get from, you know, the inside main over to here to go into the south yard. Which I wish I had it. You know, back in the beginning, I wish I had put double crossovers there. It would have made more sense. Or two sets of crossovers. Okay, we'll get back to work tomorrow. Now it's time for a refreshing beverage, some dinner. Hit it tomorrow to get everything in, wired, tortoises on. Said soldered up, feeders dropped, powered up. Okay, it's quick in progress. Got all the revised track edges down, weighted down with my weights that I obtained from when I worked at GE Transportation. They were going to scrap them, so I said, hey, can I have these? They're nice. They actually have two edges are machined, and anyway, they were scrapped. So, all right, so that's all in. It's going to set for several hours. And up here, as you can see, we got some remedial excavation work going on. Going to bring that track back pretty much to the edge there. Got to fix up the scenery a little bit. These guys are trying to save some of the old earthwork. So I put a quick level a spackle on that, level it off, slap it in. It'll be fine once I get the scenery on. It'll look good. So what do I do? Got that set. Now I gotta get the tortoises in, which is always fun. I really hate it, but stop whining and get working. Alrighty, so I was over on the layout, doing some track work, getting ready to do some more on the south yard. And the first time I had to do some of the Peco Electrofrog installations. And it took me back a little bit. I was a little surprised. I'd never used them before. Been highly recommended by some of my model railroad pals. So I figured, you know what, as opposed to having to make them, I'll buy them because I know the spring action is pretty good. These are all going to be hand throws, so I'm not going to worry about switch machines or anything like that. But the biggest thing I noticed on these is, well, I didn't like the extension of the throw bar on the far side here, and these ties are huge. I'm going to leave them be. I'll live with it. I don't mind this because I'm going to have, you know, a target over here, but this one I cut off. It just looked real gloppy. And then I noticed how long their frog is. It's freaking ginormous. Basically from here all the way up through the frog and then all the way out to the end of the turnout. Because there's no other gaps. And again, I'm used to a fast tracks turnout where the gaps are roughly here and here. So a little bit smaller frog. You have to worry about being powered. That's a big area. In fact, that locomotive will be dead on arrival because it's totally inside the frog. So now I know the intent is to power the frogs. I get that. But the one thing I didn't like about these is the frog wire, which they do give you. It's attached here, but it's only about yay long, and it's tiny. I think it's practically worthless. I think. I mean, I can imagine you could drill it, you could get that through the layout, but try working with it on the underside. So I said, all right, that's not going to fly. So what do? Because you're going to have to power this with a heavier piece of wire. You could bring it up, solder it anywhere along here, but now there's a lot of plastic. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to fall back on what I know. So what I did was I soldered in a mainline PCB board tie here at the end, still inside, so it's inside the gap. So this is still the frog. And then what I'll do on the layout, I'll be able to get some light on the subject here. I'll be able to drill a hole and bring a much larger wire as long as I need to go back to, I favor frog juicers, so I'll be able to run it one wire all the way back, which is no way you do that with the wire that Peco gives you. It's not going to happen. It's nowhere long enough, and I'd be worried that over time it would break off the bottom of this, and then, well, you'd find out pretty quick because a lot of your locomotives are going to die. I mean, that switcher would be dead for sure. I mean, it's a little bit, it's 6 inches just about from here to here. So that's this whole length. That's going to be, that's your, in effect, is your frog, the area that needs to be powered. All right, so I got that done, so now I can drill and bring up a larger, either a 24 or 22 gauge wire, and, you know, solder it on right outside here. It works well. I've done it before. Boop, it's really easy to just get that solder right on the PCB board tie, then that gets through the rest of the frog. I soldered in right here, there's little jumpers that that I added here. It looks like they're supposed to go in there. They're not there initially. They for some reason they put wires here, which makes no sense. That's going to get dead short at some point. But so I soldered them in here. Now I did check it before I did that. There is continuity between the stock rail and the point rail, or the closure rail, whatever the hell you call it. But I think you're relying on the points, and there's no way in the world I'm going to rely on the points for long durations. That's why I soldered those in there. Yeah, that was fun. That was really not enjoyable, getting those little wires in there. But they're there. They're soldered up. So now I've got a much better connection from the stock rail to the closure rail, to the point rails, whatever they are. Anyway, so now I was like, okay, lesson learned. Now I'm going to have to do this on every freaking Peco turnout I have, but alright, so be it. And I'm going to have at least 6 more than I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think 6 more. So that means I got to come back to the bench and spend another hour or so doing this and fixing that and doing this little pain in the rear soldering and cutting these off. And some of these have to be cut on this side because the way they're going to sit. And these are pretty darn, like I said, these are way too big. But all right, we'll make it work. So just interesting. Again, I've never used a Peco turnout before. I'm just used to fast tracks and some micro engineering number 6s, which have a lot of that stuff. They have that little connection there. The Frog's a lot smaller. They actually give you, which I think would make a lot more sense, you know, micro engineering gives you a little pad on the bottom of the Frog so you can solder a wire. It works pretty well. I don't think you can get in there and solder a wire on what these guys are giving you. There's just not enough room in there without melting the crap out of everything. So that's why I decided to go with that, to bring my Frog wire up. Alright, so that's that. Oh, I did learn that I won't be able to see it, but the micro engineering Code 83 rail joiners will fit on the Peco turnouts. Yay. Because the Peco, I bought some Peco rail joiners. They're like this long. Okay, they're not, but they're huge. Again, I guess because I'm used to the micro engineering one, the micro engineering joiners, which are a lot smaller. All right, anyway, so a little bit of an adventure there, getting these ready to go, but now they're ready to go on the layout, so we'll go over and we'll get them installed. Alrighty, got some more of the track work done here, and you can see over here on the south side, it's not secured yet. I just kind of cut it to fit and everything like that. Had a little noodling around with those Peco turnouts. And this side right now I'm just kind of testing things. Got my little buddy here doing some testing. Say hello. And then I ran him all the way. There's the new yard lead all the way back. Needs a bumper and some scenery. So we're just checking this out here. Oh, here's a fun little tidbit. Right about where he is now, there's a tortoise under there, and I needed to put a feeder in because, well, anyway, it's just I wanted it here to feed that direction and the tail end of this track. So I'm in there, oh, right here makes sense. Here's rail joiners. I'll solder that joint, and away we'll go. Yeah, So I start drilling, and I'm drilling, and I come pull the drill bit up, and it's got green on it. I was like, oh no. Yeah, I drilled right to the top of that tortoise. Now it works, at least so far. It appears to do its thing, so I'm hopeful that my little bit of a drilling adventure didn't destroy it. And for that turnout, for now, I just put a toggle right here just to have something to be able to do something to it. And then for these other turnouts, this crossover and this reconfigured yard lead, they are still controlled. This here, where it came out of the yard, now is a lead and a crossover. So, but this still controls that. This controls that switch there, because that's still kind of there. I mean, it is the like I said, I'm gonna have to probably redo this control cabinet at the end, but at least for now I can control things from here. A little kludgy, certainly not perfect. I did decide, boy, he is really going slow. He's running pretty nice so far. I thought for sure as soon as I turned the camera on, there'd be arcing and sparking and stalling and all kinds of other shenanigans. So what I used to have before, off of here, was just a dead end, and I use it as my programming track. I have a switch down below where I can do, command station programming. Well, I decided to keep that, so I kept the double. Well, I moved it, but I put a double gap here. I was able to keep the same feeders and not take this piece of track out. That was easy. and then put a set of double gaps here. So now I have that nice long track in there. If I ever need to do, if I can't program on the main, I need to program direct from the command station, I can do that. And then here's the two Peco turnouts. I'll probably have a little segment on. I had to do some interesting work on those. A little bit surprised. I'm not used to them. But this is pretty much how it's going to be. Of course, the throttle doesn't belong in the layout. But I did decide, again, to put that crossover in and then have a little, I don't know. This track can be, again, I don't know, a wreck train, just some track for stuff. Not sure what. Oh, you gotta be careful. You don't want to put your prize rolling stock there because it's kind of close, and I can just see people come walking by and la 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 la, and just there goes your nice brass engine or something like that. So like I said, this is cut and set, not secured yet. And my switch is running away from me. And then the next thing, I did kind of get the Pepsi bottle. No, I got the this end, the east end of the south yard laid out. I'd like to get that in, but that's going to take a little bit more work. Get on the Peco turnouts and stuff. So, but anyway, we're getting there. So this is almost done. I probably want to get all this stuff at least in, wired, ready to go, because then I need to come in and obviously paint. So, sorry, I'm just stopping my switcher. I'll bring him back the other way just for the fun of it. So I'll do some test runs, and a real good tester is that little dude. He really checks if your frogs are actually working. Alright, so that's that. Progress here at Eugene East. We're getting fairly far along. Actually making some improvements, I think. I can actually operate now out of the north yard with the lead and everything. So, hey, we're getting there. Alright. I'll shut up and get back to work. You ready for some fun? Alright, here we go. Blast off. Ah, maximum speed! I can't give you no more, Captain. It's all she's got. Oh no, we're gonna go into the pond. I can't watch. I can't watch. Whew. Safety.